the ground, up from the ground just seconds ago, and of course it is being checked now by explosive experts to make sure that it cannot ignite and explode once again. You can see it, there were tens of rockets sent throughout the day in this latest barrage. One of them made a landfall. This is the one you're seeing, and it was taken out of the ground, as we mentioned, seconds ago, now being checked to make sure that it cannot create any more damage. You can see the tractor that pushed them out of the earth, basically out of the ground, and it will probably be taken away from here in the coming minutes. As far as the scene, first of all, we're happy to say that there are no people trapped inside. Therefore, the casualties here are only light injuries as far as physical damage. But we have to say that we were here minutes after this rocket fell, and the panic here, the people running away, bleeding and crying, obviously not an easy scene, but at least as far as physical casualties, only light injuries, no people trapped inside as was feared earlier. And now you can see this is the rocket that made landfall here less than an hour ago at around 1:40, 1:35 local time. Now this rocket was taken out and will be taken away from here quite soon. The damage around, you can see, is quite substantial. Luckily, we can say the injuries are only light.
Right, Jonathan, and it looks like, from what I can make of those images, that a lot of the windows shattered from the powerful explosion.
That is correct, and something we have to say, these buildings here, they're rather old, built in the 60s, in the 70s, when of course the threats which Israel was facing back at the time when this was built were different. There were no buildings were built with safe rooms inside, but rather with a shelter at the bottom. This is how most of the old buildings in Israel were built, and we're hearing that many of the families actually spent the entire day there, and that is why they were saved. We can see that the damage is big, and if any of the people were next to one of those windows that we're seeing, then of course the numbers of casualties could have been different, the severity of the injuries. But since people did what they did, either went out to the staircase or actually sat for hours and hours down in the basement, this is probably what saved them. And we're saying this again and again. People listening to the instructions of the Homefront Command, this is something that saves lives, and we saw it here this afternoon.
Did you see anyone there who lives in this building, talk to anybody? Were they rattled by this whole thing? It must have been a big explosion that everybody saw and heard.
Absolutely. We were here just 5 or 10 minutes after the explosion. People were still shocked. We have to understand that the explosion, the sound that it makes is extremely loud, and we saw people being pulled away, some of them with cuts, bleeding, others in panic, crying. Obviously not an easy sight. There's already a post here of the Israeli tax authority trying to get all of the details of the people that their houses were hit. Obviously these houses, the people cannot go back to their houses, not tonight and not for quite some time. These are damages that have to be repaired, and money that has to be paid to those people, trying to find some solutions for them. Cars, we can say, have also been hit. You can see the damage is quite substantial. Now we're seeing this rocket the remains of this rocket will probably be taken away. It was quite deep in the ground. It took some time before it was pulled out by the Homefront Command explosive experts.
Right.